The sun was already brutal by 8 a.m. in Coral Gables Retirement Village, a gated community of pastel-colored condos, perfectly manicured lawns, and palm trees that looked like they had been photoshopped into reality. Every morning, Juliet Rivera walked the same loop, past the clubhouse with its bubbling fountain, around the Olympic-sized pool where the early birds did slow laps, and back to her corner unit at 1427 Ocean Breeze Way. She had lived here for 17 years. 17 years of bingo nights, water aerobics, mahjong tournaments, and the slow, predictable rhythm of retirement with her husband, Victor. 17 years of believing that the hardest part of life, raising 3 children, running a small chain of beachfront bakeries, surviving breast cancer, was already behind them. That illusion ended on a Tuesday. It started with sunscreen. Victor had always been vain about his skin. "I'm not getting skin cancer like my brother," he used to say, slathering on SPF 70 even in December. Juliet never minded. She liked that he took care of himself. But that morning, she found 2 tubes in the golf cart he kept parked under the carport. One was the usual Banana Boat Sport. The other was a smaller, more expensive brand, Coppertone Clearly Sheer, coconut and hibiscus scent. Victor hated coconut, said it reminded him of bad piña coladas from the 80s. She turned the tube over. A faint lipstick smudge on the cap. Coral pink. Not her shade. She didn't say anything. She simply put both tubes back exactly where she found them, closed the golf cart door, and went inside to make coffee. That afternoon, she found the receipt. Victor had told her he was playing 18 holes with his buddies at the Doral course. He always came home smelling like sunscreen, beer, and cigar smoke. But the receipt she found tucked inside his golf glove compartment was from the Key West Marriott Beachside Hotel. 2 nights, Ocean View King Suite, $1,478. Room service, champagne, strawberries, chocolate-dipped everything. Date? Last weekend, when he had supposedly been at a golf tournament in Orlando. She photographed the receipt. Then she photographed the 2 tubes of sunscreen again, this time with her phone flash on, so the faint coral pink smudge showed clearly.
She didn't cry. She didn't scream. She just sat on the edge of their king bed and stared at the framed photo on the nightstand. Her, Victor, their son Mateo, and Mateo's wife Sophia at their wedding 4 years earlier. Sophia in white lace, Victor kissing her cheek, everyone smiling. Juliet felt something cold and precise settle inside her chest. She knew exactly who wore coral pink lipstick. The next morning, she called Elena Morales. Elena had been Juliet's neighbor for 12 years. Before retirement, Elena had worked 23 years as an administrative assistant for a private investigation firm in Miami. She knew people. She knew how to ask questions without sounding like she was asking questions. "Elena," Juliet said when her friend answered, "I need a favor, a big one." Elena didn't ask why. She just said, "Tell me what you need." 2 days later, Elena introduced her to Carlos Vega. Carlos was 51, short, balding, always wore polo shirts 1 size too big, and had the calmest eyes Juliet had ever seen. He looked like someone's favorite uncle. That was probably why he was good at his job. They met at a small Cuban cafe on Coral Way. No one paid attention to 3 middle-aged people drinking cortaditos. Carlos listened without interrupting. When Juliet finished showing him the photos, the receipt, the sunscreen, the text message she had found on Victor's iPad, she had guessed the passcode, their wedding date. He simply nodded. "I can follow him for 2 weeks. Full documentation, photos, timestamps, locations, audio if it's legal and safe. You want names, dates, places, and proof they're doing what you think they're doing. After that, you decide what comes next." "How much?" Juliet asked. Carlos wrote a number on a napkin. It was high, but not impossible. She transferred half that afternoon from her personal savings account, the account Victor didn't know about, the one she had quietly built from selling her last 2 bakery locations before the chain was bought out, her emergency money, her just-in-case money. She had never imagined just in case would look like this. The first package arrived 9 days later. Carlos didn't use email, too traceable. He used a thumb drive dropped inside a plain manila envelope, hand-delivered to Elena, who then passed it to Juliet. Juliet waited until Victor left for golf before she plugged it in. The first photo? Victor and Sophia walking out of a law office on Brickell Avenue, Sophia wearing oversized sunglasses and a cream linen dress. Victor's hand resting on the small of her back. Not a father-in-law, daughter-in-law touch, a lover's touch. Second photo, them entering the Mandarin Oriental Hotel, Miami, same day, 3:47 p.m. Third photo, balcony on the 18th floor. Victor's arm around Sophia's waist, her head on his shoulder. A kiss, short, casual, familiar. Then came the video. Juliet almost didn't press play, but she did. The camera was far away, probably from across the street, but clear enough. Sophia whispering in Victor's ear, him laughing, then both of them disappearing inside the room. The audio was worse. Carlos had managed to get close enough to the balcony with a directional microphone. Sophia's voice. "We need to move faster. Mateo is starting to ask questions about the condo papers." Victor. "Relax, baby. Juliet trusts me. She'll sign anything I put in front of her. She thinks I'm doing her a favor by helping with the estate planning." Sophia laughed. "She's 68. She's tired. She wants to believe everything is fine. By the time she figures it out, the condos will be in our names. We sell, we split, we disappear to Costa Rica or wherever you want." Juliet paused the video. She sat in complete silence for almost 20 minutes. Then she opened her laptop and started making a list. Phase 1. More evidence. She asked Carlos for another 2 weeks. She paid in cash this time. Phase 2. Preparation. She bought 2 identical tubes of industrial-grade cyanoacrylate adhesive, professional superglue used in woodworking and furniture repair. Clear, fast-setting, extremely strong on skin. She practiced in the garage late at night. She squeezed a tiny amount on her finger and timed how long it took to bond to another surface. 8 seconds, full strength in under a minute. She also bought a small remote-controlled relay switch from an electronics supply store in Hialeah, the kind used for smart home projects. She would install it on the smoke detector in the guest bedroom, the bedroom Victor had started calling the office because he spent so much time there with the door locked. The trigger. She needed a believable reason for both of them to be in the condo at the same time, and she needed them to use the product she was going to tamper with. That part was easy. Victor had a favorite aftershave balm he kept in the master bathroom. He used it every day. Lately, though, he had started keeping a small travel-sized bottle in his golf bag. The label read, "Hydrating Aftershave and Intimate Moisturizer for Sensitive Areas." He thought she didn't know what it really was. She knew. She waited until he left for his Saturday morning tea time. Then she took the bottle from the golf bag, emptied it in the sink, rinsed it carefully, and refilled it with the industrial superglue. Clear, odorless, same consistency. She shook it gently, tested a drop on a piece of cardboard. It looked exactly the same. She put it back. Then she installed the remote relay switch on the smoke detector in the guest bedroom, a tiny device hidden behind the cover. One press on her phone app and it would trigger the alarm. Loud, piercing, impossible to ignore in a gated community where everyone was retired and hyper-aware of fire risks. She also set up her phone to record audio through a small voice-activated recorder she hid behind the headboard of the guest bed. She covered it with a framed photo of her, Victor, Mateo, and Sophia at Disney World 3 years earlier. The irony tasted like battery acid. Phase 4. The excuse. She told Victor she had to go to Tampa for 2 days. A former bakery manager was retiring and wanted to have a farewell lunch. She asked me personally, Juliet said. I feel like I should go. Victor's eyes lit up for half a second before he caught himself. Of course, honey, go. Enjoy yourself. I'll hold down the fort. He kissed her forehead. She smiled like she always did. She left at 7:30 a.m. on a Friday. She didn't go to Tampa. She drove 3 blocks away, parked in Elena's garage, and walked back to the community through the service entrance the landscapers used. She let herself into Mrs. Delgado's condo, another neighbor who spent winters in New Jersey. Mrs. Delgado had given her a spare key years ago, just in case. From Mrs. Delgado's second-floor window, Juliet had a perfect view of her own front door and carport. She waited. At 10:14 a.m., a silver Toyota Camry pulled up. Sophia. She wore a pale yellow sundress and oversized sunglasses. She looked around once, twice, then hurried to the front door. Victor opened it before she could knock. They kissed, long, hungry, right there in the doorway. Juliet didn't flinch. She just started the audio recorder on her phone. 11:47 a.m. The guest bedroom window was cracked open. Juliet could hear everything through the recorder. Sophia laughing. Finally, no more hotels, no more sneaking around. Victor, she's gone till Sunday night. We have the whole place. Sophia, I brought the papers, the new quitclaim deeds. Once she signs, the 3 condos on Ocean Drive are ours. We list them in January when the snowbirds leave. We make a killing. Victor, you're evil. I love it. More laughter. Then the sounds Juliet had been waiting for. Clothes dropping, bed creaking, moans. She waited exactly 7 minutes. Then she pressed the button on her phone. The smoke detector screamed, a piercing, repeating wail that echoed across the entire community. Victor's voice, "What the hell?" Sophia, "The smoke detector. Did you burn something?" "No, I didn't even go in the kitchen." Juliet watched from Mrs. Delgado's window as neighbors began stepping outside, phones already out. Someone shouted, "Is that the Rivera's place?" Someone else, "Call security." Juliet waited another 40 seconds. Then she called 911 herself from a burner phone Carlos had given her. "Hi, yes, I live at Coral Gables Retirement Village. There's smoke coming from Unit 1427 Ocean Breeze Way. I think someone's inside. Please hurry." She hung up. Then she waited. 12:03 p.m. 2 golf carts from community security arrived first, then a fire truck, then an ambulance. By now, 30 or 40 residents were gathered in front of the house. Victor and Sophia still hadn't come out. Juliet slipped out the back of Mrs. Delgado's condo and joined the crowd, standing near the back, blending in. The firefighters forced the front door. Shouting, then silence. Then someone yelled, "Oh my God!" A firefighter came running out, face red, trying not to laugh. They're stuck, together, on the bed. The crowd erupted. Phones up, videos rolling. Sophia screaming, "Get it off! It burns!" Victor, "Don't touch it! Don't, Jesus Christ!" The firefighters had to cut the sheets around them. They wrapped them in blankets and carried them out on stretchers, still attached at several very unfortunate places. The entire community watched. Someone started clapping. Someone else yelled, "That's his daughter-in-law!" Mateo arrived 17 minutes later. He had been on shift at the fire station 4 miles away. He recognized the address on the call and drove code 3. He jumped out of the truck in full gear. Then he saw his father, his wife, on stretchers, covered in blankets, still stuck. He froze. Juliet walked up behind him slowly. She put her hand on his shoulder. Mateo turned, tears already in his eyes. "Mom?" She didn't say anything. She just hugged him. The aftermath moved quickly. Juliet had the condo professionally cleaned the next day. She changed the locks. She filed for divorce the following Monday. She had the audio, the photos, the hotel receipts, the quitclaim deed drafts, the thumb drive from Carlos, the 911 call she had made herself. Victor tried to talk to her once, through a lawyer. She sent him one message: "Sign or I release everything. Every photo, every audio clip, every video the neighbors took. You have until Friday." He signed. Sophia begged Mateo for forgiveness. Mateo didn't even answer her texts. He moved back home with Juliet the next weekend. 6 months later, the bakery Juliet used to own had been sold years ago, but she still baked every Sunday. Flan, Coquico cookies, pan de bono. She brought trays to the clubhouse.
People still talked about the incident, but mostly they talked about how Juliet handled it with class. She never cried in public. She cried once, late at night, alone, holding the old Disney World photo. Then she put it in a drawer. She started dating again at 69, a retired Coast Guard captain named Raphael. He liked to fish, he liked her flan, he liked her laugh. Matteo started smiling again. He still worked as a firefighter, he still checked on his mother every day, and every once in a while, when the sun was setting over the ocean and the palm trees were swaying in the